Today, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, the exciting thing is to present this much-deserved award to our dear friend,
Carmen.
Rodriguez.
Carmen, thanks so much.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate this wonderful evening for LINC. I'm truly overwhelmed by such an honor. And Jim and Philippa, thank you so much for your extremely kind words and your generous support of LINC over all these years. I want to recognize my co-honoree this evening, Phyllis Gran. She's edited some of the works of my favorite authors whose words have transported me to other places and eras and provided me with hours of enjoyment. I could never have expected this great honor. Whatever I have done can never compare to the many before me who have dedicated themselves to this wonderful organization. And what I have contributed would never have been possible without the dedication and efforts of my parents and the opportunities they and those who preceded them received from this great country. Yes. Some of us here are immigrants, and nearly all of us are descended from immigrants. As both the daughter of immigrants and an immigrant myself, I'm amazed by and grateful for the opportunities this country has given me. My family came to the United States escaping persecution. My father had been general counsel to Zenith in Cuba. Because he worked for an American company, Fidel Castro's government regarded him as a traitor. He was arrested during the Bay of Pigs. And for weeks, my mother, who was pregnant with me, heard nothing about my father, not even if he was alive. He was later released, but my parents felt unsafe in their native country and left for the United States. They certainly did not expect to spend the rest of their lives here. My father spoke some English, but not well. In the United States, he could no longer be an attorney. He studied nights and weekends to earn his master's degree in Spanish literature from City College here in New York. And eventually, he was able to support his family as a teacher. My mother spoke practically no English. In time, she got a job as a seamstress. They both worked very hard, but they were given the opportunity to provide for their family. We've heard this story so many times. Immigrants who came here with nothing. And it's true. They had to leave it all behind. They didn't know at the time that it would be forever. And even with the language barrier, and yes, the condescending looks and rude comments when they struggled to speak English correctly, my parents, like other immigrants, persevered. Like many immigrants, my parents never fully assimilated into the culture of their new home, but they learned a few things from that culture. More than anything else, what has stayed with me is my parents' insistence that if there were not enough money to educate their son and their daughter equally, their daughter, me, would get the better education. They knew in the 1960s women faced great challenges. And despite a very traditional and conservative background, my parents understood that education would make all the difference. There was never a question that I would go to college, and there was never a doubt that I would have a career. I'm proud to say that my parents recognized 50 years ago that education is the great equalizer, a fundamental fact that our society today still struggles to understand. It was in the corporation room at Brown University that I first learned about the crisis in early childhood education in the United States. We discussed how important it was to reach the youngest school-age children. And yes, we discussed how critical it was that children learn how to read by third grade. we all understood that reading is the foundation to learning. You need to know how to read to solve a word problem in math. You need to know how to read to understand science or history or poetry. You need to know how to read to transcend time, to escape to other places, and to fire your imagination with a great book. Knowledge, adventure, and imagination, these are all things that we get from reading. LINC's founder, Mimi Lieber, knew this and wanted it for all children. She knew that if there was any possible cure for poverty, the first step was literacy. Think about that, a cure for poverty. The foundation for a great society is education, and the foundation for education is reading. If children cannot read by the end of 3rd grade, they do not catch up. Until 3rd grade, schools teach how to read. After 3rd grade, it is assumed children have the skills, the reading skills, to learn math, science, English, and social studies. That's why LINC focuses on helping children read proficiently by 3rd grade. For most of us in this room, we, and the children in our families, came home from the hospital to a home filled with books. Many of the children that LINC serves receives their very first book at a LINC event. We most likely all remember being read to or reading to a child. We can probably still recite a phrase from a favorite book. I wrote to the zoo to send me a pet, and they sent me an elephant? He was too big. I sent him back. That's from Dear Zoo by Rod Campbell, one of my son's favorites. LINC provides the parents and children it serves with that same wondrous opportunity. LINC hosts programs in parks, libraries, laundromats, and community centers, anywhere where children and their caregivers congregate. In any given month, LINC hosts hundreds of programs. That represents hundreds of opportunities for children to read or to be read to. LINC hosts programs for parents to explain the importance of reading to their children. We provide encouragement and share methods on how best to read aloud to their child. LINC's school program teaches 5th graders the importance of being role models and volunteering. 5th graders are paired with 2nd graders in a highly structured reading program. The 2nd graders have someone to look up to, and the 5th graders get the tremendous satisfaction of helping another person, making a difference, and being a role model. LINC runs 3 programs simultaneously. One for parents on the importance of reading, one in the community in hosting read-alouds, and one to promote reading in schools. But let me tell you what LINC is not. LINC is not in the business of going into a neighborhood once a month with volunteers, exchanging pleasantries, and leaving, feeling proud for having done something for someone less fortunate. No, LINC is based in these neighborhoods. Our coordinators live in the neighborhoods we serve. They coordinate hundreds of programs and blanket the children with multiple opportunities to read or be read to. LINC is there to stay and make a difference on the ground every day. We can all help LINC, but LINC is there. It is planted there, and what grows there. There's so much to love about the United States, but our ability to evolve and change is foundational to our success as a nation. This is a critical cause in that success. Whether you're inspired by helping to create a more equitable society, or are concerned about the preparedness of our workforce to meet the technological advances in our workplace, our nation's future depends on educating our children. Before I close, I would like to thank my sons, Stefan and Christian, for their patience and for making us so proud. My parents for their wisdom and their courage, and my Carlos for giving me the fairy tale life that I used to read about. Thank you all for coming tonight. I am truly humbled and honored. I hope you will continue to support LINC and its mission as generously as possible.